Good morning, good morning. We are here in my hometown of Osceola County. So part of WKMG Hits the Road is obviously visiting different zip codes throughout our area. And we're going to be spending time with Osceola County's top cop, Osceola County Sheriff Marcos Lopez. And he is the elected sheriff here in the county. And next Thursday, we are going to be taking over downtown Kissimmee, part of 32771. And so you're here to talk to him. So let's welcome in Sheriff Lopez into the truck. Welcome in, sir.
Hey, what's happening?
How are you?
Good.
Welcome in.
Thank you,
This
sir.
is results one. If it looks like it's hooked up like a cop car, it was done on purpose.
All right.
So anything that's on broadcast is going to be right here, and then all the other cameras are kind of synced up. They're kind of everywhere. HG2 and Gibson Truck Roll came in strong when it came to hooking this thing up.
It's a very nice truck.
So yeah, it's a little warm, so I will turn that up a little bit. But thank you for spending some time and taking some time to hop in the truck with me today.
Thank you for having me.
So News 6, we're going to be visiting down here in Osceola County next week. And the past week we've been focusing stories only on the 32771 kind of zip code, which covers a big stretch of the busiest portions. Obviously not the tourist area and stuff, but and I figured I get to talk to all these sheriffs all the time, but I haven't been able to speak to you yet. And then boom, we were able to line this up. So talk to me a little bit about you. When did you start your career?
Well, you know, when I was 17, I joined the military.
Okay.
So it was, and I did total reserve time, about 22 years of service.
Army guy, right?
No, Navy.
Navy. All right. I was an Air Force guy.
I was a sailor. Yeah, smart move. When we were in the Middle East in 04, everybody was jealous because the Air Force guys had like AC in their Humvees.
Yep.
And
I'm not going to even deny it. That's truth.
Nice beds, and we were all on cots. But you know what? The important thing is that you serve.
This way?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And that's the important thing. You serve. Yeah, then I started here in 03. I started in communications, and then I moved on to went to the police academy full time. You can go right here if you want.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
I'll take it up this one.
And then I've been here ever since.
So when you switched from the military side into law enforcement, what got you into wanting to be into law enforcement?
Well, I was in ROTC since I was a kid.
Can I go straight or do I backtrack?
Yes, you can go that way.
Okay.
ROTC since high school. My grandpa, he fought in World War I. Just a lot of people in my family were in the military, brothers, uncles. So it was just kind of my motivator, and just to continue. And a lot of my time in the was reserve time, but I stayed in. I just liked the uniform. I liked that.
Keeps good discipline.
Yeah. I just stayed in, and you get a nice little pension out of that.
Yes.
If you complete your time, so you can't beat it.
I do regret because I'd be retiring this year if I would have stayed.
It's worth it.
The whole 20 years at that point.
When you're older and you retire, you're looking at through different type of retirements, or if you retire from the sheriff's office,
right?
You got to pay into that. It's like $1,500-1,700 a month, and that comes out of your pension. So, like I tell the kids now, I said it's about the retirement,
right?
And investing in your future, because 25 years, 40 years goes by quick. We said a guy the other day retired, had 40 years of service. I mean,
wow.
And he's like, where did it go?
Right.
And he was emotional. He was ready not to retire, but he knows when it's time to go, it's time to go.
Well, because you want to at least enjoy a portion of it, right?
Yes, definitely.
And say, I got to work this, but then I got to spend this much time remembering my time.
Especially if you're carrying a hip and wearing a uniform every day of your life.
Right.
It's not easy to transition to do something else.
So when you decided I'm going to run for sheriff and you became the sheriff, let's talk about policing here specifically. I talk about Osceola County a lot. My mom is still down here. I grew up down here. And I always say that Osceola County is simply just different. It's hard for me to really explain to people because if they don't come south of 417th.
Yes.
What would you say to somebody who thinks of Osceola County as a law enforcement officer? What is policing like down here? Not only from your days on the street, but even as the sheriff, as the top cop of the county.
I think that you're right. Osceola County is a little different. We're very cultural, very diverse. When I first took office, I think they were about 19% diverse, the workforce. So you really weren't looking like the people you serve. And when I talked to people, there was a disconnect. One, a lot of people are bilingual. And some people don't speak English, and they want to be able to relate to someone that can speak their language or communicate with them or explain things to them. Remember, the processes from different countries or different states and laws are a little different. So, that was one of the things I looked at, and we've come a long way. We're like just over 50% diverse now. Just
the entire agency?
Yes.
Wow.
And we're about 99% capacity with deputies right now.
That's a good place to be.
Yeah. I mean, we're almost full with deputies. So, we can't complain, and we have some shortages in communications.
Right.
But it's really hard to fill those,
I don't think any department right now has their comm center full.
It's very stressful.
Right.
Like I tell people, everything comes through there, and you might be a cop dealing with 1 or 2, 3, 4 stressful calls during the day, but that dispatcher might handle 80 calls in a day that are stressful, sending them to different locations. And I worked there, so I know how hard it is. It wasn't easy.
So when it comes to your recruitment, obviously you're always looking for good candidates. You're looking for good people, not only within the community, but if someone's like, man, I want to work for that department. What is policing like within this county? Because you can go from the east side and you're in rural backwoods Osceola, and the west side looks nothing like that. So what is policing like down here?
Well, I think here you have those the touristy, the residential, and then the agricultural, and all of them have their purpose. Agricultural, of course, if your tourism is down and your building industry is down, you're going to depend on your agricultural industry. There's those balances that you have, and that could be any community. Actually, that's part of the United States.
Right.
But here we have that balance of all three, and we do depend a lot on the tourism. We have a lot of tourists here. We have at any given time 150,000 extra residents a month, tourists, through here in that west side of the county.
Wow.
People don't realize that. I'm sorry, a year.
Yeah, I was like, that's a lot. I was like, man,
I'm kinda nervous.
You guys are giving free stuff away.
No. Like a year, at any time in the west side of the county.
Okay.
That adds to the tourism and extra policing.
100%.
It's a lot of people flowing through here consistently here for a week or a long weekend or a couple weeks at a time.
Now, your mission, though, because you have this influx up and down, it's not just standard policing. You guys have to have different programs, different outreaches, not only in this part of the county or this type of crime, but almost everything all the time. You guys on Facebook are posting different types of movements, whether it's a Citizens Academy, whether it's a Teen Academy I saw you guys just put out recently, or the initiatives with Lock Up Your Vehicles and stuff like that. How does that, what kind of team do you have that does this? Because from my perspective, it's nonstop with you guys.
Well, it's educating the public. A lot of people don't understand that it's not easy doing this job. It's one thing being a deputy behind the wheel and working, but when you actually have to grab that helm and you're dealing with over 1,000 employees, you're dealing with over 1,000 personalities, and you're dealing with our population. It's consistently, it's constant, it's always changing.
Right.
The demographics are always moving. And, one of the things that when I first got here we were missing was the human trafficking aspect of this.
Okay.
And we assigned a human trafficking detective. We started our human trafficking unit. We added it to our ONIB. We used to be OSCIB, and then I added the ONIB, undercover, deep cover, narcotics, to help with human trafficking and hit those drug type organizations.
It's a very proactive approach on that.
Yes, and our human trafficking, Central Florida is pretty much, I think it's like number 3 in the state.
It's bad.
And a lot of it's tourists. People come down here all the time. They'll traffic someone. They'll stay 4 or 5 days in a hotel, and the tourists don't know. They don't. If they're not educated on what human trafficking is, they're just going to engage in those type of activities, pay, and move on back to where they come from.
And you guys are putting stuff up all throughout the area.
I don't know if you can see these too well, but some of these are Let's Stop Human Trafficking, call 911, and you have your sign. If someone sees a sign, right, someone sitting in a restaurant.
So really trying to educate people on, hey, listen, this stuff exists. You have to be able to be aware of it.
Yes, we put these in the bathrooms, everywhere in Osceola County, and it's a pretty good big sticker.
Okay.
So when you're kind of come out that door, you can look for these signs, and it's really educational because people just don't know. And there's a lot of people trafficked, children, all kind of different ways to human traffic someone, and we're just raising that awareness and trying to prevent it, or at least minimize it, because it's a $1 billion.
I don't think most people realize, though, the kind of stuff you guys are battling on an everyday. It's not just the constant calls, whether they're coming in from a rural portion of the county or a tourist in need, but it's the stuff that you're not getting the calls about.
Yes.
That you have to be on top of.
I think raising the awareness and the lack of education is what we try to push for. For example, we have a large autistic community. So what we do is we created the autism on board sticker. I have one of these. You can put it in your house. You could put it on the back of the car. And, if an officer
I like that.
comes up to the back of a vehicle
Right.
and sees this, there could be a person with autism in the vehicle.
Right.
Sometimes they're disruptive. They're not in control of themselves.
This is just giving them that heads up. Like,
Yes.
hey.
It's like, hey, this probably is what's going on in the car. Let's give a little bit of extra attention to this, and so make sure that there's no misunderstanding and there's no one gets hurt. And a lot of people are really appreciative of that.
I'm sure your deputies are appreciative of that too, because if they're making the traffic stop, someone's getting mouthy or uncooperative. It's like, hold on, we put this label on their car so that we wouldn't have that miscommunication.
Yes, and that's important because, like I said, it's just about raising the awareness.
So you guys have seen, we've seen it really tick everywhere with some speeders and the crashes that are resulting with this. Osceola have seen some fatals, unfortunately,
Yes, we have.
with children, and you guys are putting up signs.
Yes, we started the Despacito campaign.
Okay, I like it.
The Despacito, everybody knows that song. It's been a really successful campaign. People actually ask for them. We've probably given out thousands of those signs. We have one back here if they can see it.
We can see it right there. Yeah.
And those signs have been really successful. People really ask for them. People come to the sheriff's office and they ask for them. And we give them out whenever we can. We take them to events. And you kind of see them every now and then all over the place. And it's really good because, now summer's starting. You're going to have kids outside on their bikes and playing. And, there's going to be a little bit less traffic on the roadway, but you're going to have more kids engaging in the streets. And
different
playing.
type of traffic.
Yes.
I like to tell people, like, look, we get used to 9 to 10 months of a certain way of traffic, and then 3 months we're throwing a curveball. 5 o'clock at night, there's kids running around now.
Yes, and that's what we have to be careful for. That's why we're pushing that Despacito campaign. It's important. And we also have, and it's really good because now summer's starting. You're going to have kids outside on their bikes and playing. And, there's going to be a little bit less traffic on the roadway, but you're going to have more kids engaging in the streets. And
different
playing.
type of traffic.
Yes.
I like to tell people, like, look, we get used to 9 to 10 months of a certain way of traffic, and then 3 months we're throwing a curveball. 5 o'clock at night, there's kids running around now.
Yes, and that's what we have to be careful for. That's why we're pushing that Despacito campaign. It's important. And we also have almost 20,000 veterans living here in Osceola County. That's a lot, with the VA office. So I created the first Veterans Outreach Unit. We do veteran salutes, and we have a veterans peer support. We have employees who are veterans, and we assign them to that unit. And we check with veterans in crisis. We had one recently that barricaded himself. He was a Army vet. And unfortunately, we have to do our job. We had to extract him.
Yeah.
And instead of just arresting him or Baker Act him, we do follow-up services. We have a Victor board where we have the chief of the VA police sits on our board. And we're constantly updating veterans, educating veterans, and looking for homeless veterans. We also have a veterans decal. We put these on the cars. You can have one if you want.
I would love one of these. It'd go right on my bumper.
Yeah, and what we do is we raise the awareness. Imagine if you pull over a veteran and he's having a bad day. You don't know. A lot of guys have PTSD. So what we did was we put this in the back of the car. So if you're a law enforcement officer, you stop this guy and he's irate or agitated, or you'll know he's a veteran. And you might be able to understand some of the reasons behind it, especially if you're a veteran. We employ a lot of veterans here.
So where do these ideas come from? Because, this is, someone might go, well, why don't you guys do that in the first place? This is out of the box thinking.
Well, my story behind this one was when I was young on the road, a lot of time, this was years ago, you had to arrest, say, a veteran for domestic violence.
Okay.
Or sometimes you respond somewhere and they're really agitated. Being young and immature, you really didn't understand too much the PTSD aspect of it.
Correct.
You didn't understand a lot of it because a lot of people weren't raising the awareness. So I said, why don't we put a veterans decal on either the house or the back of a vehicle so the veterans, so the deputies can stop a car and give them that common courtesy. We didn't have anything like that. I'd stop a guy, I served in Iraq, or I served in Vietnam.
Okay.
And they were really agitated because you're stopping them. And it's not really, they're not really mad at you. you're stopping them because you're doing your job.
Right?
And I'm sure when you used to work the road, I'm sure you heard that before. And when you're young, you're just doing your job. You give your ticket and move on because you treat everybody the same. But I remember a veteran that was arrested for domestic. And I remember we used to take 3 days on, 3 days off, 2 days on, 2 days off.
Best schedule ever.
I arrested him on Friday for domestic. On Sunday, I get a message, and the poor guy's still out, homeless. And he got out of jail, and he's like, I can't go back to my house. And I was like, there's nothing I can do. So now that's why we created the Veterans Outreach Unit, follow-up services. And
to have these resources basically ready that
in case we give them a voucher for a few days, we can help them through veterans courts, just in case so they don't have another option and they don't have to be homeless for a few days. And I think we're one of the only veterans outreach divisions or units in the sheriff's office with a whole MOU. And
you're the first one. I'll tell you, I've every sheriff I've had in my car now, except for Lake County, and you're the first veterans outreach program that I've heard of.
It works.
And to me, this has got to. You have had at least seen some type of results from this already.
Yes, we have.
Because to me, this tells if I still live down here and I wasn't in news and I wasn't in law enforcement, if I'm hearing this stuff, I'm probably proactively wanting to reach out and be like, hey, what do you guys got going on? Do you find more community involvement now with all these programs?
Yes, definitely a lot of volunteers, and this is something that I can say thank you for your service. When I give it to them, just put it on the back of your window. I'm not saying it's going to get you out of a ticket.
No.
But that deputy, imagine you're Air Force and this guy's Air Force, and you guys have something to talk about.
Right.
And it could be a really positive interaction. You're like, well, I was in Dubai, or I was here.
Right.
So was I. And all of a sudden, it goes from, hey, lighten up. Let's slow it down, take your foot off the pedal, because it's always officer discretion when we do this job. So these are the things that we can just thank them for their service and acknowledge them and make sure they understand we respect everything they did and all the sacrifices they made for our country.
Sheriff, I appreciate you, man. If as we head back towards your office, anything that we haven't covered that you would want people to know that's happening at the sheriff's office, what the future of the SO looks like, anything like that. We've got maybe 2-3 extra minutes left.
I think that we added a lot of technologies to the sheriff's office. We added a real-time crime center. We added the tag readers at different exits to get stolen vehicles.
Right.
We're also bringing on the facial recognition. We're working on trying to get the weapons recognition technology.
That's good
Technologies is really important. And I'll tell you what, when the stats come out, our crime, we've seen a decline in our violent crimes. You're talking about other county very close to us might have 100 murders a year. Last year we only had 9. We've seen a decline.
Whoa.
So, and I'm not saying we're better than anybody else.
Right.
But I think that with the technologies and some of the programs that we're developing and implementing, they're working. So we're going to continue these tactics, focusing on these high crime areas and focusing on violent crime and focusing on the high crime trend areas through those technologies. I believe that's what's really helped us bring down the crime. We're going to continue to do so. And like I said, we're almost at 99% with our deputies. I mean, that's unheard of.
That is unheard of.
I mean, we've probably got 21 in FTO and processing. And so we're doing really good. A lot of people want to come work here.
Sheriff, you sound like, to me, this whole ride, we've been going, 20 minutes? You sound like you're really just, you're not concerned about noise. You're concerned about what's happening here in Osceola County, what's happening in St. Cloud, Kissimmee, Celebration, what things you can just try. Because, the answer's always no if you don't ask, kind of thing?
Well, you just got to have a passion for this job. You got to have a love for what you do. If you're doing this for the wrong reasons, you're not going to make an impact. You're not going to make a difference. You're not going to implement any programs. We've developed probably over 20 new programs just in the last 4 years, and they're working. We have our JUMP program, Juveniles Unleashing Maximum Potential.
I saw that.
We take kids with diversionary that are getting like a cigarette citation or a diversionary program. We take them out to Lake X with 5 juvenile outreach deputies, and we grill them, we work them, we run them, they crawl, and then we educate them on the consequences of committing crimes, misdemeanors to felonies, bullying, sexting, texting. And let me tell you something, those kids, a majority, we want to come back. We're like, we don't want you back. We don't want,
because they learned and had so much fun.
Yes, and they get to the point where they go back and they, instead of getting an in-school suspension, they get a counted day of class and they learn. So there's a lot of things that we do, and that I do, and we all do, and we put these things together just to make sure that we're doing a little bit extra, not just writing tickets, not just responding to calls.
Right.
You got to make that difference. If you don't, the kids are our future, and if you're just going to handle the calls as they come, you're not really making an impact. You got to
No,
look
that's
at
the
that
truth.
after result and look beyond what can we do to prevent this from happening.
Right. I love it. I love it. Just I love the seniors approach, the team
You gotta
approach,
come out to our
all
jump
of that
program.
stuff. Where do I make it? Right here?
And you got to come out to our jump program.
I'd love to come out sometime.
Another time you
I
get a
think that'd be
chance.
really, really interesting because I haven't seen. Is there anybody else locally
No.
that's doing that?
No, we're the only sheriff's office right now.
You were quick on that one. You're like,
Yeah.
ain't
Well,
nobody else doing
no,
that.
No, but I'd love for you to come out and we have equine therapy.
Okay.
We have horses out there. So we have a young lady out there that you could bring the horse out. They'll clean their hoofs. They'll brush the horse. So it's a little bit of everything. It's not just, we have corrections come out there. They give them an apple, the bologna sandwich with an old sugarless cookie and a little bit of juice. Oh yeah, we show them this is what you'll be eating in corrections. They show them the orange jumpsuit.
So they're
show
getting
them
a
the
full
cop.
experience
Yes.
and education.
Yes.
This isn't just like a boot camp. This is
No.
Listen, let's teach you why you don't want to be
Exactly.
here, kind of
Right
thing.
now you're here. This is what got you here. Let's prevent this because if you continue, it could be worse.
Man, awesome. Well, Sheriff, I appreciate you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
Guys, you can catch everything that the Osceola County Sheriff's Office is doing on their Facebook, their Instagram, their X page. They even have a TikTok. The Sheriff has his own TikTok page there. Give them a follow. This will exist over at clickorlando.com, News 6 Plus. They give the short guy the big truck. So we appreciate you guys for tuning in. Give them a like, a follow, and we'll be live next week, guys. So take it easy, Sheriff. We appreciate you and your agency and
Appreciate
everything you guys do down here in Osceola County. It is my home. My mama still lives down here.
Nice.
So we appreciate you guys. Take it easy. Have a
Thank
great
you.
day, everybody.
You too, brother.